right. Why does my screen look so damn grimy? Hold on. All right, there we go. Not much better. You know what? I think the next thing that I'm going to do when I finally get some money is I'm going to get a new webcam that's going to be facing in another direction versus like directly at me. Like, wake up. Anyway. So, as you may have seen in the title, there's a segment of Ceolan history that is more or less steeped in mystery. Oh shit, my eyeball. This segment of history is called the Second Eon. It is an integral part of the Ceolan Empire's history. As one may know, the first Eon was about the Civil War, the Ceolan people finally starting to spread out, leaving their home world, going to different planets, all that fun stuff. The second Eon is when it really started kicking off. They only had inhabited like a couple of planets during the first Eon, but when the commercialization of hyperdrive engines started becoming really big, it started really taking off. Like Ceolans would be getting these engines, these components, these ships, and they would be just going unchecked, just explosive expansion of the empire. And as the empire claimed, where a Ceolan lives, that's where the territory is. And well, the territory expanded very, very quickly, which doesn't matter how you cut it, not a good thing. God, I love coffee. E. Oh my God, why is my microphone quality so bad? What's going on here? How do I get levels? That's what I really want to do. So I can see where it is, but it's not where I want it to be. What the fuck is the setting? Somebody help me. Shit. Here's what I can do. Ooh. There it is. E. You know what's the wrong thing? The wrong thing about this microphone is that you just cannot turn up the gain. Talk about shitty. So you kind of just have to fucking wing it. It says it's at 100. Oh, now it says it's at 94. Oh, so it turns itself down. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get mean. God, I hate when I have to fucking adjust shit in the middle of my goddamn stream. Like, but excuse me, all of this stuff is supposed to be nice and dealt with. Sometimes it's not, though. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Okay, so pee pee poo poo, man. All right, so let's talk about the Second Eon. The Second Eon was sparked by a event, the Hassensschweiler construct. When Ceolans discovered Terminus 5, which was a cyber world, a mod cam, like at one time it was a weapon, or at least part of a weapon, but it no longer works because it's derelict and broken and shit. Cosmic collisions and all that nonsense. Terminus 5 was basically just floating out in the middle of nowhere. It was orbiting a dying star, and the entire planet itself was barely being held together. Problem is, its placement was starting to intervene on other planets in the sector, which, as people would know, this process takes a really long time. When a planet is being interacted with another planet or another mass, I guess, they will start drifting in all different kinds of manners and ways. So to stop nefarious amounts of asteroids and basically old derelict tech from shotgunning the shit out of other planets, the Chetverland military, no, not the Chetverland military. The Chetverland military wasn't devised yet. The Empire devised a plan to basically reconnect the world. This is when they first started terraforming planets. And Terminus 5 was one such planet that they chose to terraform. Being such a broken, derelict planet, it almost seemed like it would be a lost cause, but they put a device on it called the Hatzenschweiler construct. The device is this enormous gravity tower that on the other side of the planet there already is one. It was there because mod cams and their crazy ass technology. So these two pillars would go from one end to another. If you've ever seen Superman, the first Superman, I guess, and there's that gravity fucking terraforming thing, kind of like that, but less violent. It sends these gravity waves through the planet, which basically reignites its ability to just hold things together. And the crust of the planet started reforming in on itself. The asteroids and all the atmospheric debris fell back to the planet harmlessly-ish. And the Hatzenschweiler construct is always in action. It's always moving. It's always doing its thing, because if it turns off or turns, whatever have you, it eventually will just release everything back into the atmosphere. Terminus 5 being a cyber world, unpleasant. I will say that. And in the future, it presents quite the serious issue. But we won't talk about that. After the successful terraforming of Terminus 5, Ceolan started figuring out that they can do it to other planets. Planets that are inhospitable. They have the worst weather. They have the worst terrain or no atmosphere whatsoever. No, they can do that. They figured it all out. In the instance of terraforming, they created a series of systems that are still in use today called the Orbital Terraforming Platform. This device sits in atmosphere or just outside of atmosphere, and it can often be seen as a series of rings around a planet. And when it's activated, all it is just pummeling the surface of the planet, as long as there's nothing living on there. Pummeling the surface of the planet until it is dark gray, just a dark gray ashland. It sends down this particular particle beam, and it smashes the ever-loving fuck out of the terrain. And when you completely eviscerate the terrain, eventually the world will be able to be reset, if it will. They plant these atmosphere emitters on the world, and they just let it sit there for a couple of decades. Sometimes they hurry up the process with what's the word I'm looking for? Bringing over CO2 from other planets. Don't mind me, I'm just dying. And there's a whole process behind it. But because of the terraforming, they have been able to live on planets that were otherwise unlivable. And on top of that, the explosive, expansion of the Empire, thanks to the commercialized hyperdrive engines, the Empire grew very, very fast, very, very quickly into places that they probably shouldn't have. But we'll get back to that. During the Second Eon, there's a scientist who was once a separatist. If y'all remember the stories of Civil War, sworn enemies. His name is Dr. Eero Ports. Dr. Eero Ports is an Acutian, ranging from the Acutian region and the Acutian people. He is very well endowed in the field of modcam technology, specifically gates. All over the universe, there's modcam technology. I mean, literally, there is nowhere in this good, ginormous universe where modcam technology does not exist. It does in some shape, way, or form, either derelict or working. When Dr. Eero Ports figured this out, he wanted to figure it out. He wanted to figure out why all of these things were in existence. Like, why is all of this here? This was also before the time that they started figuring out what the modcam were. Dr. Eero, he worked tirelessly day in, day out, nonstop, finding these tomes and these ancient relics and these stone carvings of things that are still out there in space. And he went to go try and find them. When he found his first modcam gate, he was perplexed because it looked just like a piece of nature. And the fact that they've just been sitting out there in the open is bewildering. Why would the ancient Forerunner race just put this stuff out in the open, just willy-nilly? Because they can. They're the first race. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop me? Huh? Who's going to stop me? Literally, Archibald's followed. Coffee drinking ASMR. I'm just kidding. I don't like those things. Don't mind if I don't. Anyway, the first gate he came across was derelict, but it did show signs of salvageable technology. Mind you, these things have been sitting in the weather for 10 billion years, plus or minus. How old's the universe? Like 13.5 billion years, something like that. But yeah, no. He started figuring things out. Long story short, he figured out that these gates are like these doorways that link with each other. Only one gate can be active with another. They very quickly found that out the hard way. But then he found his first working gate, which is the reason why the Zaltos gate, which was on planet Zaltos at the time, he discovered it deep underground. It had since been, what's the word I'm looking for? It's been sitting there for a long time waiting to be discovered, and Dr. Eero Ports discovered it. He found the first gate, which was nice. When he found the first gate, the Empire was overwhelmed. They didn't know like anything about modcam technology, and they instructed Dr. Eero Ports to go out and find more stuff. That's exactly what he did. He developed himself an adventuring guild, as I guess you can call it. And it was called the Discovery Corps. And he would basically go out into the stars and follow these rumors, these stories, these stone carvings, and try to find all of these ancient artifacts for the Empire, of course. Not exactly a task that he liked. So, Mans was a separatist. He did not like the way that the Empire was formed. He didn't like how they were just like, okay, the Empire is here. Think of Dr. Eero Ports as like Indiana Jones ish, minus the always gets the girl in the end because he's an old man now. So, daddy. Anyway, so but besides Dr. Eero Ports, there's also fucking what the fuck was his name? Dr. Keenine, I think. Whatever. There's a couple of other field scientists as well. Fucking Nesson Ipo, fucking Kenson, a couple of others. But anyway, they all mingled amongst the adventure aspect because even though Ceolans are giant, planets are big, and there's a lot of exploring to be done. So seeing as all the adventuring was now really starting to take off, it was in the guidance of the Empire to encourage the Ceolan people to explore, to go out, to do your thing, because it is in the spirit of all Ceolans to remain free. The what's the word I'm looking for? The obstruction of law is not really encouraged in the Empire. And when Ceolans would basically leave Zaltos or Gamar or Sivar, yeah. Anyway, they whenever they would leave those three planets, they would go off and they would make colonies, and they would basically just separate themselves from the Empire. A lot of people were separatists at the time, but that spirit of freedom and is in all Ceolans, and making their way so far away from the Empire is what they really wanted. Of course, the Empire eventually did catch up with them, and it's like, oh, so you live here now? Ah, this planet belongs to the Empire now. And you're like, you fucking kidding me, dude? That's why I got away from you. Oh shit, eyeball. Well, besides that, the explosive expansion of the Empire, Dr. Ear reports and his adventures, there were also other events that were happening during this time period. Now, I know it seems like the Dracor really did just attack out of the blue, but they didn't. The Dracor, like the territory of the Dracor, almost carves down almost half of the Till Galaxy. There's a segment of space that is literally nothing but Dracor territory. Um, it's pretty fucking big. They didn't extend into the other part of the Empire of the Till Galaxy because they thought it was just empty space. Nothing was there. Why move into a place where there's nothing there? The Dracor or the Dominion, they are extremely hostile, extremely territorial, extremely prideful creatures. They are also a warrior kinship in a similarity to the Ceolan Empire. Well, it was. Hold on, my brain's like short circuiting here. Coffee's just running through me, so I gotta figure this shit out. Chugga 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 chugga. I fucking love coffee. Can I get a thumbs up in chat for those who enjoy coffee? Oh, there's nobody here. I'm all alone, but that's okay. I'm still going to talk about myself. So, the Ceolans started colonizing planets in synchronous contact. And by this time, the Till Galaxy was filled with primarily the Empire and the Dominion. When the Empire started making its grand explosive expansion and didn't know what was on the other side of that proverbial wall, the Dracor eventually found out. They found out because there was new lights on another planet that shouldn't be, ignited. Like, okay, who's over there? Like, what's over there? And they see these ships and they see these people and they see this entire planet is just covered in all these creatures, these giants that look nothing like them. They're terrified and they're angry. Like, how dare you? How dare you come to my home, step foot in my place, wipe off your muddy boots, and then just think you can own it? I guess the reverse can be said for them as well, but hey, Dracor are greedy. To describe a Dracor is a dragon-esque creature. It has a large, rectangular, bulky head with thick neck, broad shoulders, highly technologically advanced, just like the Ceolans are. Probably, I would say that they're on the same technological level. Dracor may be just a little bit more advanced. Maybe not advanced, but access to more exotic weaponry because they do not although they have plasma-based weaponry, they do not use it very often because it's heavy and it requires a lot of skill, and it's just not something that the Dracor are interested in. However, they do have swords and boards, like swords and shields, like literally swords and shields, but they're made out of max light metal. I'll explain that in a bit. So the Dracor, they have wings. They can breathe certain elements. The higher tiered echelon Dracors can breathe crystals, metals, magma even. Some of them can breathe straight up poison, air, fire. I guess it's a pretty common one. Water is very common. Poison, toxic fumes. Dracor are pretty menacing. They are very unpleasant creatures and very unpleasant creatures. Although they may seem like barbaric monsters, they are true warriors at heart, and they will not fight something that cannot fight back. They do not kill children. They do not kill elderly. They do not kill. No, yeah, they'll definitely kill a woman. Yeah, no fucking problem, dude. They'll deck him right in the face. They'll call him a goddamn. Can't say it on YouTube. Can't say it on YouTube. Can't say it on YouTube. Don't do that. Nope. Nope. Anyway, the Draco are very menacing creatures, and they are only in it for the fight and their territory and all that other stuff. When they found out that the Ceolans were pushing into their territory, it was instantaneous. The entirety of the entire Dominion dropped all of their forces on this one planet that was covered in Ceolans. Nobody was spared. This was the only instance where they did kill everybody. Women, children, sick, elderly, fit, you name it. And the Empire only caught word because the Drakor let one person of a population of 50,000 leave. Only one. Pretty fucking scary, if you ask me. Once that was over, then the Drakor Wars really started to kick off. The Drakor pushed in from one side of the territories, started pushing down and down and down, and that's a whole shit show. The fucking that's the third Eon anyway, so not even gonna talk about that. But let's talk about the discovered Ceolan metal. Indelium is very, very, very strong. It is a super high tensile metal. It first comes out as like a very boxy looking pink crystal. You can see right through it. Well, Ceolan started figuring out that abundance of these, pink crystals, they called indeliite, they would take it and they're like, this is like basically fucking useless. Like, what's going on here? Well, somebody figured out to put it in a forge. And indelium is very, very difficult to forge by hand. Yet most of it has to be done mechanically. When you heat up the crystal, it reforms itself into a more, what's the word I'm looking for? Metallic substance, if that makes any sense. The atmosphere that the Ceolans live in is called, it's a fictional gas called amoxium. Amoxium fuses with indeliite to create indelium. Amoxium and indelium, the indeliite, when they combine, they super bond each other. It is very difficult to break indelium. It is very, very difficult. Problem is, it is also very, very heavy. It's very dense too. It's indelium is really, really good against high heat as well. Ballistics, high heat, fire, plasma. Most times it will either deflect or it will stop the projectile completely. I wouldn't call it bulletproof because while indelium is very dense, very heavy, putting too much of it on your body will eventually, good luck. Ceolans use it very sparingly on their armors. They use it on their most crucial parts, like their chest, their stomach, their abdomen, to protect their umabex gland, and in their helmets as well. But besides that, they don't use indelium for much else. They also use it on spaceships as well, battlecrafts. They will plate the entire sides of them with very, very thick plates of indelium because it will stop a plasma. It will stop a plasmid projectile, but that's another story. While there is a lot of indelium out there, it's basically the Ceolan steel. It's very, very fine material. You can use it in a weapon. It does hold a pretty sturdy blade. It's just very, very heavy, and you don't want to be swinging around a sword going tink. As strong as Ceolans are, you'd have to make a pretty sizable, sword with that thing. Ow. And then there's max light. Max light is the material that's just underneath the strength of indelium. if you were to see max light in real life, it would look like almost like brittle slate. Until it is heated up and reforged, it turns bone white. Very, 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 very pretty. Very pretty, at least in my professional opinion. And when you what's the word I'm looking for? When you sand it down, the edge gleams like a weird silvery white. It's really pretty stuff. Well, the Dracor used max light technology, max light metal, because max light, much like Indelium, it has a certain property in it that essentially disallows it from being melted instantaneously. Indelium has that same property as well. If you shoot plasma bolts at Indelium, the surface will get very, very hot, but it'll become very, very rigid. And no matter how much pummeling you do to it, the plasma bolts either deflect or just stop. They will not go through it. Not like steel or sometimes tungsten, sometimes titanium, sometimes all of those other softer metals. Some steel carbons can have the chance to deflect it at least. Max light, however, is like a complete no-go. Like plasma does not go through max light. It will never go through max light for some reason. Max light just has that property where it just does not allow plasma to go through. And on top of that, max light and Indelium, when it strikes together, it creates an incredible shockwave as well as a shower of sparks. Because Indelium is stronger than max light, Indelium will trump max light in the end, but max light, it creates this shockwave when you strike it with Indelium, and of course the shower of sparks, and it can be used as a very aggressive weapon against the Ceolans, because when the Dracor figured out that max light and Indelium do not mix, they started using them more in their swords. And whenever they would strike a Ceolan, they could often blow them completely off of their feet, as well as the Dracor, but Dracor have wings and they can recover pretty quickly. And then they started shifting from swords to hammers, because hammers really fucking drive that shit home. That's a lot of surface area. Hold on. My God. Oh my God. I love coffee. Shit. What was I saying? And then there's also Dracor plasma weapons. Now, in the Amaze Me Gods universe, plasma strength is done based on color. It's not based on speed. If you can make a plasma bolt go super duper fast, but it's plasma. It is literally just coiled gas. It's still malleable. It's still going to impact, or it's still going to unravel like 20 feet away from the barrel. Oh yeah, that's another thing about Ceolan weaponry. Most plasma weaponry is the effectiveness of plasma weaponry is insane, all the way up until it leaves the barrel. All the way up until it leaves the barrel. You see, Ceolans devise their technology in a very specific way. You have your fuel chamber, which is the magazine, and it ejects a fuel charge into a fusion chamber, which instantly turns it into plasma. Then it goes into a vortex cylinder, and it basically cycles this plasma jet into a super duper tight coil while it's still moving forward through the gun. And then eventually the magnetic, the IC FPs on the sides of it will give it forward momentum, magnetizing the ions in the plasma and basically just shooting that shit forward, launching it like a fucking railgun. Sort of. Not as fast. Plasma is very, very slow, at least comparatively to, other projectiles, because it's very, very... There's a lot of resistance on it. There's a lot of resistance factors on it. You've got air resistance, you got thermal resistance, you got magnetic resistance. The bolts just go out and they go really fucking slow. Like, let's say you got like a 9mm handgun that shit shoots 1700 FPS. Well, plasma shoots maybe it's 900, 800 FPS. That is incredibly fucking slow. It is very slow. It's easily dodgeable from certain distances. Assuming it even gets out that far. That's another thing about plasma weaponry, is that the coiled plasma which this has not been something that Ceolans or even the Dracor or any plasma-based technology has been able to figure out. That once it's coiled into its nice and proper tight mechanics, and it just as soon as it leaves the barrel from the safety of all that nice, lovely magnetized field, it has a chance to instantaneously blow up. Just like that. As soon as it leaves the barrel, it has a chance to just a chance. A very small chance, but a chance. When plasma leaves the barrel in the safety of the magnetized field, it will travel straight forward with very little like downward what's the word I'm looking for? Gravity. Yeah. There's not a lot of gravity pull on bolts, and they will just go straight for a really long time, assuming they do. The tight coil of the plasma is excellent for its travel. The tighter the plasma, the longer it can go, and also the more explosive its reaction is when it hits something, or if it explodes. It will explode. It will unravel. Sorry, it will unravel explosively, either on contact with something or on just when its time comes. And whenever it does, it does. And if it does, make sure you're not too close to it, because plasma burns fucking suck, okay? That is third degree instantaneous cauterization. That is most unpleasant. Sometimes plasma bolts will go straight through. They will just straight up cauterize whatever the fuck they're touching and just go whoa. Sometimes they will touch, boom. Sometimes they'll go touch, wee, boom. You don't want to be. Actually, I feel like you'd want to be like right here when it explodes, because at least it's instantaneous. You don't have to worry about much. There's vaporization as well, which is super fucking unpleasant if you ask me. Jesus. The plasma technology was really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really finalized by the Second Eon planet commander. I'm sorry, not planet commander. Zalor Faragul was the first one to introduce the plasma technology to the Ceolan military, which was newly forming at the time because of the Dracor Empire. They finalized this weapon called the MF Fox. That was because of Dr. Eero Ports, actually, who reverse engineered certain pieces of modcam technology, not weapons per se, just things, and found out how to make cyclic fusion reactors, which in turn would be fueled by these small charges of hydrogen cells, which instantaneously turn it into plasma, and then the vortex cyclic chamber, and it turns into a like a coil, and then you got the fucking magnet chamber. Yeah, he figured all that in a certain story, by the way, which I'm probably going to tell. Dr. Eero Ports casually remarks that he has seen what a fox is. That is because Dr. Eero Ports is very well known for going into gates, like physically into them. And he is also known for his mysterious interaction with what is called the Forever Way. This is still in the Second Eon, by the way, guys. This is still Second Eon nonsense. When Dr. Eero Ports came across this notion that everybody knows that only one gate can link with another gate. They are like sibling gates. You have your brother and your sister gate. You absolutely cannot have a third gate in there. It's impossible. In accordance with the physics of the Amazing Gods universe, having more than one gate link up to one is just impossible. It cannot happen. So when he heard about a gate that can link to all other gates, he was enthralled. It was almost like there's absolutely no way that it could have existed. This is the story of Singularity. Singularity was a gate devised by the Ceolan, by the Modcam, that linked all of the gates in the universe, to one gate. However, that's not what it was. It's more like a keyhole, or the key itself. What it unlocked was known as the Forever Way. The Forever Way is this hallway, best way I can describe it, this long, straight hallway. In every single surface, there's nothing but these like square holes that are portals to other places. And there's millions of them, billions of them, quadrillions of them, a Googleplex of them. There's so many gates, there's so many doors, there's so many places. And when Dr. Eero Ports found all of this, he went to some of these places, not all of them, because there's a whole story behind that. He almost released a cosmic horror on the universe, almost. And he met the Sun Avatar. He met he went to like a time frame, which I'm not going to confirm nor deny whether this is Earth or not. But there was like boats and pirates and fucking squids and shit. Fucking he visited this like weird world of nothing but like electronics and like surveillance. He's been to like high up mountains, the down floor seabeds, everything. He's been everywhere, pretty much. And Dr. Eero, like a couple of my other characters from my other books, has seen other worlds entirely different, other dimensions and stuff. I like to I like to integrate my other books together because I'm a basic bitch and it's fun. It's fun seeing this highly technologically advanced super galactic race interact with these dudes who know about magic in swords and shields and armor and werewolves and shit. And it's just like, what the fuck is that? It's Benny or the zombie apocalypse. So after Dr. Eero's adventure with the Forever Way, and of course the accidental summoning of a cosmic horror that almost destroyed the universe, he had no choice except to destroy Singularity. The Empire demanded that he goes out and secures Singularity in the name of the Empire, because imagine if the Empire had all unlimited access to the entire universe. The setting would be vastly different. Vastly different. There might not have been a Dracor Wars. There might not have been the Great Dying. There might not have been, or maybe conversely, it would have been a lot worse. Who knows? Had Singularity been around, had Singularity not been destroyed, the Forever Way would have been accessed by the entirety of the Ceolan people. Me personally, at least my human morals, I don't agree with that. At least I don't agree to one race having ultimate control. They'll fight over it for fucking sure. Yes, they will. Like in I keep going over that fucking thing. I'm like, no. We're talking about the Second Eon, but we are talking about the Second Eon, especially with the Singularity and all that other stories. Fucking. Let's see the other story. Fuck. Where's my notes? Looks through pages of book as if I'm actually looking for my list. Because that's exactly what I'm doing. I promise you, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking through my notes. Oh yeah, look at this art. Can I get a fucking Hoya on those fingers? Ooh, except for my long ass fingernails. Don't look at them. Don't make fun of me. Anyway, Chedabin. Oh, here we go. Hell yeah. This is basically the entire timeline of Ceolan history right here. Kind of looks bad, but you got fucking an empty period of time, which was the Anthelian period. The Civil War, followed by great monumental times of peace. And then you got the fucking this, and then you got the Great Expansion, then you got the Dracor Wars, and then you got the peacetime period, and then the Kurgan Wars, and then the fucking human wars in between here, and then the Great Dying, and then Resurgence, and then whatever the fuck that says, whatever the fuck that says, and whatever the fuck that says. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Techno Scourge Wars, Second Civil War, and Valiance. Oh shit! And then there's this piece right here. Look at this. It's a modcam gate that separates one part from another. It's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of look cool. This looks cool in my head. And this is a Dracor. Or at least this is what they can look like. There's quite a few variants of them. They have the fucking these little you want to talk about fucking Dracor technology? That's the most terrifying weapon you could ever come across. When the Dracor started like really, really fucking up the Ceolan people, they devised this weapon to basically stop Ceolans from running away. More of a fear factor, if you will. But its effectiveness is still talked about today. There are these glass jars, like a little bit bigger than this. And they have this silver cap on them that they will jam down on. And they got about maybe 3 seconds to throw this thing before it activates. And inside of this jar is this hot pink mist. And it's highly condensed. There's a lot of it in there. And when it breaks, it activates. And it is very, very scary because it hits the ground, it activates, and all of that gas explodes outwards. And then it condenses back in on itself like a crystal. It reforms itself into a crystal, and it can stop other like Ceolans from moving around. And if they're really unlucky, they'll get their head stuck in there as well, or any part of them at all, because it condenses down so fast. Good luck getting out of that. Oh shit, my nose. Oh, my back. Very terrifying weaponry. The Dracor were capable of doing ungodly things to Ceolans, and Ceolans barely had a chance to fight back because they didn't even have a formulated military. The military was only formed because a bunch of roughnecks from this Chetverland region, they formed together and they wanted to fight back against the Dracor because the Dracor were just winning everywhere they went. And the warrior spirit of Ceolans was like, no, those are my people. No. And the first couple of regiments that were formed to stop the Dracor menace, these are all non-combative individuals. These are like citizens of the Empire. These are a couple of rowdy boys who just had a couple guns in their back pockets, and somehow they stopped the Dracor. They didn't stop them. They redirected them. And when that first wind came across the board, Ceolans were like, we're fucking doing this. Let's go. The Empire started funding more stuff into the Chetverland military, which, by the way, the Empire and the military are two separate organizations. The Empire does not own the military. The military freely roams around the Empire just protecting people. Or helping transport or whatever have you. They're pretty helpful people. Anyway, the Chetverland military started getting Empire support. There we go. And they started pushing back on the Dracor, and the Dracor didn't like that at all. And their first couple of battles, the Ceolans did win. The Chetverland military, CRM, they did win, and the Dracor whipped out this super weapon. It was most definitely modcam in nature. Most definitely, without a shadow of doubt in people's mind. It was a cyber world that was made into a weapon. Um, but more specifically, it was called Titan. Um, this moon-sized weapon. People are gonna be like, "Oh my god, is that Star Wars with the fucking laser beams?" Much more cataclysmic. Much more cataclysmic. Um, the super weapon was is a segment of another much larger weapon. The Drakor liked to take Modchem technology and try to use it against the Ceolans. Titan itself was deployed around Solus, which Solus was a planet that the Chetrelan military has designated as their military stockpile. It was more or less an area just for them to stage. And then the Drakor found out, and then they were like, okay, we're going to take out that whole planet. And so they pushed in Titan. Titan is a cyber world that comes from a much, much larger cosmic super weapon. Think of Titan as the start, the primer, the gunpowder, if you will. And even that segment of the weapon was extremely powerful. There were other relay planets. There's fucking like these rings for actuators and accuracy. There was a whole weapon system, and they took the primer. They could have just taken the whole thing, but that would have taken a really long time to get to the territories, because it's a fucking super ginormous, like almost solar system wide super weapon. It was called the bayonet a long time ago, and you basically aim it at things. Beep beep beep. It's pretty nasty stuff. There's a lot of weapons in. There's a lot of just derelict modchem technology that's just sitting in the universe of the Amazing Gods, literally just sitting there, free for the taking. Just sitting, literally just sitting there out in the open, just like blah, 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 blah. There's other bayonets in the world of the Amazing Gods universe. There's not just one. There's what, like 15, 16 of them. There's mass relay stations. There's even a suspected galaxy-sized super weapon, where it's literally just the center of this entire thing is nothing but like a cyclic energy actuator. It's been charging itself up for God knows how long, and charging itself up for what? Who knows? But that's only theory.
A game theory. Don't demonetize me.
All right. So this is coming up on an hour, and I keep promising myself that I'm only going to be doing 30-minute long live streams, but I never get around to it. Now we're going to talk about the extra additives parts. So as a storyteller, I find it difficult for myself to be able to do certain voices. I cannot, for the life of me, do a female voice. I cannot do a certain male voices. I cannot do I can't even do certain voices in that at all. So even though you will not get paid for this, I am looking for additional voice actors. Like, what's a good word I'm looking for? Extend your portfolio. With my work, your work, we can make things happen. If you are interested, go ahead and add. Well, actually, I'm going to put my Discord in the Discord channel. I'm still working on it right now. It's in the works. I'll be able to get some stuff lined up, and perhaps we can broker a deal here. You do a couple lines for me, and go about our way. So TLDR, I'm looking for more voice actors for more characters. I'm going to be introducing a lot more characters with a lot more character in them. Personality. There you go. I'm looking for people who are like high energy, can put a lot of emotion to what they have to say, enunciate their words. None of that, or none of that. Arigato, Mr. Roboto. None of that. No. I don't want no. What's the word I'm looking for? None of that dommy mommy bullshit. That's not in the place in my books. Sorry. I mean, I would say that I can write that, but I'm not gonna put that shit on YouTube. On second thought, I'm not gonna write that. So I need more voice actors. I'm gonna put my YouTube up, my Discord, and oh shit, my ear. And hopefully, if you guys enjoy my content, you will go there and say hello and say howdy and talk about lore or whatever have you, and maybe even ask some questions. Oh my god, questions about the lore? Because I actually encourage people to ask questions, dive into it, ask questions about this stuff. Fucking love it. What's another thing I'm doing? I'm gonna be doing a lot more art related things as well, and I don't want to put this shit like on like DeviantArt or whatever have you, but it's like I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to integrate my art with the stories as well. Difficult, lemon, difficult. Well, I got one segment of that in particular, and I've been working on it for God knows how long now. Oh my god, it's the Jawen. Oh my god, it's Commander Phalanx our turn. Oh my god, it's Ceolan. Oh my god, trees. There we go. I'm not going to be able to tell you too much about it, but if you knew me from other social platforms, you know about this story. Can't tell you too much about it. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But that's basically what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to like do storyboard things of that. Give you a little bit of image to the story. I did Avon Kel Kragan, which has a lot of extra sounds in the background. I feel like I did a little bit too much with that. Some feedback with my stories as well is just fucking bene, man. Bene. If you see my stuff, you like my stuff, comment, like, subscribe, press the little button and all shit like that, you know? Just let me know if I'm doing a good job. Actually, I already know I'm doing a good job. Never mind. Don't tell me. Oh. So with that, I'm gonna cut the live stream here, and that'll be that. I'm gonna be making another video. I'm trying to make more videos more commonly, I guess, if that makes any sense. But I'm doing some IRL type stuff right now, and still in the process of fixing certain situations, such as my PC right now. I used to be able to just put headphones on my ears and just jam out to music, but no, my headphones don't want to work. So, Auf Wiederschnitzel, Auf Wiedersehen, chicken Alfredo, pasta linguine. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope that you have a good meal and drink some water and listen to a couple of my videos because fuck it. Y'all have a great day. And travelers, remember, the universe is a scary place. It's very unforgiving. You need to be strong. It's the only way to get through. Bye.